Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another exciting Minecraft discussion today. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and wow, is it a phenomenal day. Just a phenomenal day. Gonna let the goats out soon so they can romp around. And so anyway, today I'd like to talk about creativity for all you creatives out there. And those who don't think you're creatives, which we're going to talk about, this video is about how to get it done, because we are all creative, and that's the first thing we're going to talk about. Is that there's this myth that's sort of, there's only a few select people who get, somebody's waved the creative wand over them with little creative fairy dust and landed, no, like Da Vinci and Einstein and Steve Jobs, and just think of all the people out there who we label as creatives, and never mind all the singers and authors, J.K. Rowling, So they're all creatives, yes, but it's in all of us, absolutely. And so one of the first steps is to give ourselves, I definitely identify as a creative, there's no question, is to give ourselves permission to create crap. Really, I mean, just keep it up. Just keep doing it. And I remember when I wrote my first book, and I had 4 out of my 5 kids were little. I had 4, 6 and under, I think, or no, maybe they're a little older than that. Anyway, the point is they were all home. I don't remember their ages, but they were all home. I don't believe our little one was here yet. And anyway, somebody said to me, if because I had this book just in my head, it just wrote itself, and we're gonna actually get to that soon too. That if you trying to think you're going to just sit down and write 6 chapters in a day, probably not going to happen, especially with 4 little kids home, 4 or 5 little kids home. But no matter what your life circumstances are, if that's because we all have stuff going on, we all have levels of busyness, and it's just not going to happen that we can just, or if it does, just be happy and be surprised and be grateful if you get a rainy Saturday where you really knock out 8 chapters. But the point is to just put one foot in front of the other with whatever it is you do, and just little bites. And I have a friend who wrote his book with he was like constantly recorded little ideas if he was in the car or whatever, and eventually kicked out a really good book on the relationships between fathers and their young adults, and it's really, really quite good. And it was a little steps at a time that it all came together. Another thing we need to know, okay, so permission to make crap. We got to make we can make a lot of junk, and eventually something will, who used to say that to me? Just basically throw a lot of putty. Actually, I think she used to say duty. Throw a lot of duty against the wall. Something is eventually going to stick, but we've got to give ourselves permission to just regurgitate, basically, whatever your creative vehicle is. And then also, we talked about this too, not defining ourselves by outcomes. We don't want to be, married, as they say, to that ideal sculpture, that ideal film, that ideal project at work, that ideal culinary display, that ideal business. We don't, because that's all outcome based, and we can't. Well, in a happiness standpoint, we can't be happy, at least not for very long, because if our happiness is based on outcomes, we're dependent on something that's out here instead of in here. So that isn't going to have moments of it, but not going to be long lasting. So also, okay, so the outcome based thing is also has largely to do with the ego, right? Because a lot of those things that we get attached to are really side effects of creativity, that when we actually let go of them, that's the irony, right? When we actually let go of the outcomes, the side effects, then they're more likely to happen. Just like when we let go of the need for approval, in walks approval, because we don't care anymore. That's how it works. And so some of the side effects we attach to, or can attach to as creatives, are success, whatever that means for you. We're not talking about the inside success. We're talking about all the outcomey external stuff. What the appearance of whatever it is you're trying to create, how other people respond to whatever you create, whatever, if it's showcased someplace, that whole venue thing, if it's something like, the visual arts, money, who sees it, who writes about it, the exposure, all that stuff, and what people who you care about say. And even though you care about them, it's still all outcomes, it's all side effects. And so what we really want to do is not do that, not be attached to the potential success of it, or any of those, like we said, side effects, and to just do it for the sake of it. True creatives really just do it for the sake of it. Not to say we're not happy when somebody says something nice. It feels good when somebody says something nice about a video or you know, whatever you're doing, there's nice feedback. And especially, I know when they say, when something has touched them and, you know, they've gotten some awareness from something and they've gotten some meaning from it and they've grown personally. I mean, obviously, I'm up and over the top with that. You know, it feels so good to know that, you know, the video made a difference for somebody, of course. The difference is we don't want to go looking for it. We don't want to need it. It just feels good when it walks in the door, sort of thing. So it's that spontaneity and that joy. So something that's called flow, and that's based on the word of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. And that means we are just in it. It's me doing videos. Also when I teach and I'm flying across the classroom, when I'm doing all sorts of workshops for my other role as the well-being and success coach and doing all kinds of workshops on everything, you know, spirituality, meaning, purpose, the club, Defense Against the Dark Arts that I run with the students in the zone. And I have to, in Champlain's a clockless campus, which is great. We're in the moment. The only thing is I have to keep watching the little clock in the bottom of the computer because I'll keep them there forever. You know, forever, because I'm in the creative zone. You know, creativity is all over my teaching stuff. I definitely identify as a creative and bring it into everything I do, cooking, everything. But so that's why I lose track of time. So flow is about losing track of time, not wanting to be doing anything else, not wanting to be anyone else. And that's the flow zone right there. And it's just such a charge for, you know, doing it for the sake of doing it. I'm thinking of young Michael Jackson, like at like 8, 9, 10, flying around the stage, just you know, just and just not thinking about paychecks or anything, just in it, just in the zone. Okay, so we don't want to have ourselves wrapped in the end product. We want to just be in it for in the moment. And when we do sort of get wrapped up in those side effects, the universe kind of, you know, builds resistance, because that isn't the authentic way. The authentic way is the intrinsic motivation that pulls us into the flow zone. Then there is no resistance. And if you've ever experienced it, let me tell you, there is no stopping you. You just feel like, if I'm teaching a class, I'm doing the workshop, I also love to write for Psychology Today. I feel like I am the article, or I am the classroom. I can't even explain it. It's such a charge. Jim Carrey has talked about this before, about being at the Super Bowl, and like, I am the Super Bowl, because you just feel so, it's not an arrogance thing, it's the actual polar opposite of that. It's such a humbling connection to just everybody. It's just so amazing. And you become one with the song you're writing, or you become one with whatever it is you're creating. So what else did I made a little? Oh, and so resilience is basically the foundation for creatives. And resilience, I'm a big fan. I talk about it a lot at Champlain, because we are really good with the stick-to-itness. We're really good with the bouncing back. We are bouncer backers. We just keep creating, not caring what people say about it, for the most part. Doesn't mean you have a human moment, but we're not looking for it. We don't care, good or bad. Don't care. And because of this, we don't get all wrapped up in failure, because that's just part of the whole process. I mean, Dr. Seuss, I think, had 27 rejections before he actually got one of his books published. That's so nuts. You know, and there are lots of stories like that. Michael Jordan, I think, was bringing creativity to athletics. I'm pretty sure got cut from his high school basketball team. There's all kinds of, the Beatles also had a lot of rejection. So, you know, we just don't really care. And if we go back to Wayne Dyer's stuff, failure doesn't exist anyway. Oprah also says that mistakes don't even exist. Failures don't exist either. We are people creating results. We take a path, we make a choice. There are results. We might not like those results. It might not be working for us. We then change direction and come up with more results. But there really aren't failures, and creatives don't really get wrapped up in that. So we need a lot of consistency too. Creatives need to just create consistently. And Aaron Doughty, who I listen to on occasion, talked about that, which when I started my YouTube channel, now it's been a year and a half almost, I don't even know. Time flies when you're having fun. See, flow. He talked about just being consistent is the main thing, and just keep kicking them out. Like we said, don't be afraid to make junk. Just keep at it. I mean, try your best, obviously. Put yourself into it, but each and every one of them doesn't have to be up for an award. Just keep it going, and eventually this quantity. So you say, oh, quantity, oh, you're sacrificing quantity for quality, or quality for quantity, the other way around. No, that's not it. Because quantity actually leads to quality. When you just keep producing, you're practicing. Whatever we practice, we inevitably get better at, right? So the quality comes from producing and being consistent every single day. A video every single day, or whatever your thing is. Because there's the thing is, you know, because if you don't, you're not going to kick out the best-selling song, the best-selling book, whatever. If you don't consistently kick it out, the articles, whatever. So, okay, so we as creatives, we want to trust in the process. I just did a video on this, I think this morning. Trust on the process, commit to the process, and know that we see lots of possibilities. We see things differently. We definitely see things differently. So it's this whole idea of originality. I think I'm going to do a second one on this because we're getting too long. Originality is really kind of no such thing, because we're all really taking things that already exist and seeing new connections. And so since it's already long, I think I'm going to do a part 2. So creativity is for the creatives. How to get it done, part 1. Trust and commit in the process. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the beautiful northern Vermont. Have a mindful and creative day.